Ralph, we get it. But we can't change who we are. And the sooner you accept that, the better off your game and your life will be.
Hey, one game at a time, Ralph.
Now let's close out with the bad guy affirmation. I am bad,
And
that's good.
I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me.
I'm gonna wreck it! Hey everybody, welcome back to Modern Man Vlog. I'm Chris, and guess what? It's Halloween. It's our Halloween special. One of the best times of the year for kids of all ages, and even adults. Yes, adults get to dress up. That's right, I dressed up. There was a long time though between when I got out of high school and later on in my years that I didn't dress up for Halloween until I started going to Halloween parties. And it all changed. I usually tend to stay simple and go with movie or pop nerdy icons. Like one year, I was a Ghostbuster. Then another year, of course, I had to go as Clark Kent, Superman. Then there was Luigi. Then I started to think kind of outside the box, and I tended to start to go more with movies. So I went with Tallahassee from Zombieland. Then a costume I've always wanted to dress as, Marty McFly from Back to the Future. I think I pulled it off pretty well. Plus, I even had a sports almanac. Halloween's probably about the closest I ever get to doing cosplay, but I love it. Especially when you go out and you see people that come up with original ideas for a Halloween costume. I've seen everything from the Slutty Pumpkin costume from How I Met Your Mother to Coach Eric Taylor from Friday Night Lights. So it's Halloween. What better to do when you can't go trick-or-treating because you're too old than watch a Halloween type movie? So I decided to come up with my top 5 must-watches for Halloween. Now before I start my list, I'm not usually a big horror movie fan, so you'll notice a lot of these aren't really horror movies. They're more thrillers or comedies, but they deal around the Halloween sense per se. Number 5 is the only TV show on this list, and no, it's not The Walking Dead. It's a Freaks and Geeks episode called Tricks and Treats. As you can tell by the title, it's their Halloween episode. If you're not familiar with Freaks and Geeks, a little background here. It's a show that lasted one season on NBC and was created by Judd Apatow and Paul Feig. It takes place in the early 80s and deals with a group of high school geeks and a group of high school, I guess you could say, freaks. The geeks being your nerdy types and the freaks being kind of your early on geeks slash hippies, pot smokers. This show is credited with creating a lot of careers for a lot of actors. You got James Franco, Busy Phillips, Martin Starr, Seth Rogen, and Jason Segel. Oh, and Linda Cardellini. And that's just the main cast. Not to mention there are some guest appearances. Freaking Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks is on there. Also, Ben Foster starts to make his first kind of appearances on TV, even before he went on to do 3:10 to Yuma in the X-Men movies. It's a great show, check it out on Netflix, but the Halloween episode is even funnier.
Oscar Goldman, it's me, Jamie Summers. Steve Austin is trapped in the reaction. Hi, Mom. Okay, you could use the phone.
The episode just reminds me so much of Halloween, basically, when I was growing up. Number 4 is the Mel Brooks classic, Young Frankenstein. Or should I say, Frankenstein. The movie's basically a black and white comedic take on the Frankenstein monster movie. It's got Peter Boyle as Frankenstein's monster, or should I say Frankenstein, and Gene Wilder playing some kind of relative of the actual original Dr. Frankenstein. This movie has given us so many great quotes through the years, like,
"Would you mind telling me whose brain I did put in?
And you won't be angry?
I will not be angry."
Abby someone.
Abby someone. Abby who?
Abby normal.
I think it's actually Mel Brooks' best film. Number 3 is Cabin in the Woods, the Joss Whedon, Drew Goddard written and Drew Goddard directed film that's basically a satire on horror films. It tries to do what Scream did with horror movies, but it does it much, much better. The story consists of basically two sections. You have the generic group of kids that are going out for the weekend in a cabin in the woods that's somebody's uncle's. And then you have the kind of corporate workers, which for most of the movie you're kind of wondering what they're doing as a part of this movie. But then it all comes together when really they're basically spying on them and controlling the situation that these kids are partaking in. Basically, they're the puppet masters for what these kids are about to go into. Now, the kids don't start out as the normal cliches where you have the virgin, the jock, the brain, and then the stoner. They kind of start out just as basic people. They all are the same. But then once they get to the cabin, they're kind of changed into those roles. It's a great little satire piece, and I highly recommend it. You can easily find it streaming on Netflix. Number 2 should be no surprise that it's on this list. It's Ivan Reitman's Ghostbusters. Now, Ghostbusters is such a pop culture icon. I'm not going to bog you down with the basics of what goes on. But there's a reason why Ghostbusters 1 is on this list and not Ghostbusters 2. Now, don't get me wrong, Ghostbusters 2 is great. He's Vigo! You are like the buzzing of flies to him. Yeah, okay, great movie, but it's no Ghostbusters 1. Ghostbusters has some of the best writing.
What are you supposed to be, some kind of a cosmonaut?
No, we're exterminators. Somebody saw a cockroach up on 12.
That's gotta be some cockroach.
Bite your head off, man.
And you gotta think some of that Bill Murray stuff is ad-lib, too.
Let's say this Twinkie represents the normal amount of psychokinetic energy in the New York area. According to this morning's sample, it would be a Twinkie 35 feet long, weighing approximately 600 pounds.
That's a big Twinkie.
And speaking of Twinkies, number 1 is Zombieland. Another comedic take on the zombie franchise. Ruben Fleischer basically took his pilot script that he was trying to make for a TV show and fleshed it out into a full feature film starring Woody Harrelson and very early Emma Stone, Jesse Eisenberg, and Abigail Breslin. If the zombie apocalypse goes down, I want it being like this movie, not like The Walking Dead or even like Dawn of the Dead.
You got a purty mouth.
Sure, you have the archetypes of the loner guy or, the kind of will they, won't they with the couple, but it's a lot of fun to watch and it's very, very funny. Check it out. Okay, question of the day. I want to know, what is your go-to Halloween thing to watch? Is it The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown? Is it Friday the 13th? Is it the Halloween movie series? Put it in the comments below. And don't forget, you can get all your nerdy and geeky delights from us by following us on Twitter. You can also get updates whenever our new videos come out too. Hey, if you like this video, click the like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to us. We'll show up in your YouTube feed if you subscribe every time a new video comes out. For the Mild Mannered Vlog, I'm Chris, and I'm gonna wreck it! It's Wreck-It Ralph, by the way. I mean, come on, watch the video. Go see the movie. Go see it. Come on. It's a good movie. Go see it. I'm not gonna tell you all about it. Really. Come on.